Hello to all my hack and slashers and good guy dolls. My name is EJ Marino and we have a new Chucky review. I'm going to be jumping into episode 7, Twice the Grieving, Double the Loss. We're winding down on season 1 of Chucky. Well, at least I hope season 1 and not just the end of the series. I am still enjoying it, but episode 7 was a bit of a finale setup episode. It still had things going. We still progressed some storylines, but for the most part, I just thought it was an okay episode where we were setting up everything that's going to happen in our big grand finale. I am very curious of where things are going to go. They definitely have set up some pieces that they could pay off later on in another season, or they can quickly wrap it up in a finale episode. So I am a bit curious of how this is going to unfold as we get near to the end, but this episode still had a lot. We still had the progression of Junior. We found out about a potential Chucky army, and we got a little bit more of Jake and Devon's relationship while also seeing the friend group bond. We get a little bit of Nica and Tiffany, some stuff. Not too much stuff. Like, again, this was definitely trying to gear us up for the finale. Again. Some major stuff happened, especially near the end of this episode, but for the most part, I just thought we were setting some things up, having a nice, easy episode, because I cannot wait for the finale. But before we get to there, let's do the recap for this week's episode. Who knew wakes and funerals could be so dramatic? Actually, I knew that because family is very dramatic, so this one is no different. Bree has her wake, the kids are there, they're very stressed, and this also sees Junior snap at Jake. He's just like, bro, everything has changed since you got into my life. This is your fault. And he hits him, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see why you feel this way. I can definitely understand the anger and the aggression. I just knew it was going to, like, I felt like Yoda watching Anakin Skywalker, like, the hate leads to evil, the evil leads to this, like, you're just gonna go end up to the dark side, and he does, which is no shocker to anyone. This funeral scene also had the arrival of Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany, as Jennifer Tilly, coming to hit on Uncle Sawa, like, okay, this was random, like, just her straight up walking up to kiss him. I'm like, is this a pen pal? I guess we won't figure it out now because of the end of the episode, but, like, what was that about? It was so strange. I'm like, I would love Jennifer Tilly to come up to kiss me in a moment of grieving, but why? That was a very uninteresting scene, but that one scene set into piece so many things, like the Junior manipulation, the stuff with the Devon at the Chucky house later on. So yeah, they definitely did some stuff with this intro. I was just like, strange choices were made here, and it's strange for the show, also just strange and out of it. Like, what is going on here? As per usual, we have a flashback in this episode. I'm just going to group it all together because it was kind of inconsequential, though I do think we are setting up to where we know Chucky at the start of the first film. It seems to be we're in that area. We are in 1988. We are in Chicago, and yeah, Chucky and Tiffany are a couple, and they're not really getting along. Sometimes Chucky plays on his own and has his own little playtime and murders with girls, and Tiffany's just like, why aren't you inviting me? I said this was an us thing. Yeah, okay, cool. Relationship drama between the bad voice acting, the overdubbed acting. Yeah, still not in love with these flashbacks. I love what Fiona Dourif is doing as Chucky or as Charles Lee Ray. I think that is great. I like that this was setting us up to where we would be in the first film. But this was definitely a couple minutes in the episode that I'm like, okay, I would rather spend time with Junior or Devon or one of those characters than doing this stuff. We also get some Kyle and Andy stuff in this episode. Nothing too much. Their bonding is very, very cute. I love their relationship. You can definitely tell these are two actors who have connected for a long time, and it feels like that. We also have a moment where Andy kind of tricks Kyle and steals the car to go out on his own. I was just like, bro, you sure you don't want Kyle? She seems like a badass, and she seems to be a bit more, less crazy than you are a little bit, Andy, so I think you need Kyle. I think you guys were a good team, but he seems to go off on his own. By the end of the episode, we do find out he tries to get himself to where Jake and Junior are living, and he arrives, and that could be a possibly great moment in the finale, but that's kind of the Andy and Kyle stuff. Not too much with them. I hope Kyle does get to return later on in the finale and maybe save Andy's ass because he's a dumbass and went on his own. Who knows? But this was about it for them. We definitely focused on the kids a little bit more. We also had some Tiffany and Nica stuff, but this was definitely a kid-focused episode as we get near that big final episode. Throughout the episode, we see Jake and Devon have some of their moments together. Jake is feeling so bad for what's going on. He still wants to connect with Devon, though. Also, Devon is just like, bro, life has gotten a bit wackadoo since all of this, so I think I'm gonna run away. And I'm just like, oh, teen runaway stories. This was a big question a lot of us had, though, was like, where does Devon go in this scenario? It seems like he had to go out of state until he doesn't, because after listening to what Jake was saying, Jake decides to run away, ends up not doing it, finds a Chucky doll, brings that back to Lexy, but for the most part, Devon's just like, yeah, I am going to go figure out some murder stuff. My mom was Detective Evans. I'm going to be Devon Evans, the detective now, and goes to the Charles Lee Ray house because he has some information on it. There, he tries to help Nica and does some Nica stuff, and I'm like, oh no, Nica Chuck is back. Yes, Chucky takes over Nica's body, ties up Devon, and Devon at the end of this episode has a very big moment we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I really liked the Devon Jake stuff. It's sad to see them break up. Lexy kind of gives him some shit, gives Jake some shit of like, really, you're gonna leave your family and your friends, these people that we're building together? I'm like, girl, Lexy, like 4 episodes ago, you thought this man was a piece of trash, but now, again, her character development has been really interesting. Yeah, this stuff was cool. The Devon and Jake stuff, watching Jake kind of go out on his own. He steals some money from Uncle Sawa. We have a whole stuff to talk about. The Uncle Lucas or whatever that uncle has. We have a lot more to talk about him in a second. But yes, we see Jake steal some money, go to run away, finds a Chucky doll randomly. It was seemingly getting shipped to the Charles Lee Ray house, because we have some stuff to talk about. Again, this is so much in this one last like 5 minutes of this episode that a lot of this felt like filler. Yeah, so this is where we're at. Now let's get into the Junior and Chucky stuff, because that was juicy. The whole last little bit of this review is going to be dedicated to Junior's character, because this was kind of his episode from the moment of beating up Jake at the beginning because of his anger, then finding Chucky, then him and Chucky started getting close. I was just like, oh yeah, Chucky finally found someone weak enough in the mind to kind of take over. He was trying to do that with the other kids, but the other kids were a bit stronger than where Junior was. Junior, I do feel bad for. He has a very tough dad situation. His mom just passed away. His life is falling around him. I understand his confusion, and this was a perfect time for a manipulator to come in and hurt him, which is what Chucky is. So Chucky starts planting some seeds. They're talking a little bit. He said, hey, why did that girl show up at the dad's wake? Yo, I need you to be a killer. This is Jake's fault. This is Lexy's fault. This is your dad's fault. Let's do some stuff. And you start seeing Junior start getting into it a little bit. Junior also has an interaction with Tiffany, who is playing Jennifer Tilly, and oh my goodness, this was one of my favorite scenes where he's just like, I think I've seen you before, and she's just like, you're too young to have seen Bound, and I'm like, no one's too young to see Bound. It's the greatest Wachowski movie ever. Sorry, Matrix fans, it is Bound for me. Yeah, I liked this moment. I thought she was so good. I love Jennifer Tilly in any of these roles, as playing Tiffany, as playing Jennifer Tilly, as Tiffany playing Jennifer Tilly. She's so good. She is such a layered, funny actress. So good stuff. She has such really good stuff here. I see her flirting with like Junior's dad, and I'm like, where is this going? And it seems nowhere. The ending of this episode has so much happening. Lexy and Jake are going off to the Charles Lee Ray house. Devon is tied up there, seeing what's going to happen. There is an army of Chuckies on the way. There is going to be a gaggle of these killer dolls, and that seems like it would be a fun moment in the finale. But what the ending of this episode was really about was the face-off between Uncle Sawa and Junior. Yeah, Junior's dad is just like drunk, a hot piece of shit. Chucky calls him a sperm donor and says, let's take care of this. And they start getting into it, and this scene was really tense, and it was sad, and I understand Junior's anger. That's where I definitely get to what Chucky was doing with these characters, and I definitely understand what the show was doing, because Junior's at a breaking point. He's up in his dad's face, and his dad and him get into it, and he uses Chucky to beat his father. I'm like, oh, I did not expect that Chucky actually became the weapon this time, which is, it's a little bit on the nose of like Chucky is the weapon to getting to people to do these things, so he physically became the weapon. A very good moment. Junior is snapped. They're singing We Got the Beat. He is a bit wackadoo now, and I'm like, okay, we have Chucky running around, we have Nica Chuck, we have Tiffany, and now we have Junior. There is so much happening. Like, there is so much bad people to face off with our good people in the end. I cannot wait. And we also see Andy arrive at Junior's house at the end, where Chucky says, we're not done yet. And I'm like, Oh, that face-off is going to be interesting. Probably Junior's taller than Alex Vincent's little short self, but I understand. I'm a short king, 5'3" myself. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to make fun of that because I noticed last week I was like, ooh, Vincent, you are short. Yes, so this episode ended in a great way. I definitely think this was a good setup for the finale. I cannot wait for that last episode. As sad as I am that the season is ending, this is it for my review of this week's episode. We have one more left. It is going to be quite the interesting ride. I think this is going to be such a fun finale because this setup was very good. As much as episode 7 definitely was building the pieces for episode 8, I still enjoyed 7 because I'm really going to enjoy 8. What did you guys think of this episode? What do you guys think of Chucky altogether? Let me know your feelings down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel because we have at least one more video left, and then maybe we'll find a new TV show to talk about. Alright guys, oh, also make sure you give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. Alright everyone, let's talk about Chucky down below.